Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In the previous video, we explored control statements in Java, how we make decisions using if else and switch to control the flow of our program. But sometimes we don't just want to make decisions, we want to repeat a block of code multiple times, and that's exactly where loops come in. So in today's video, we will understand loops in Java in detail. We will learn what loops are, their types, how they work, and when to use which one, with clear examples and outputs. Let's get started. What are loops in Java? Imagine you are asked to print numbers from 1 to 100. Would you really write 100 print statements? Of course not. Here, in such cases, loops help us execute a block of code repeatedly until a certain condition is true. They make our program shorter, efficient, and dynamic. So, what are loops? A loop in Java is used to execute a block of code repeatedly as long as a specified condition is true. Types of loops in Java. There are three main types of loops in Java: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. We will also see nested loops, infinite loops, and loop control statements such as break and continue. For loop. A for loop is best when we know how many times we want to repeat something. Its syntax is for, then initialization, semicolon, condition, semicolon, and update, which means increment or decrement. Now how it flows. Initialization runs once only. After that, condition is checked. If the condition is true, code executes. And after that it will update by using increment or decrement, and then loop repeats until condition becomes false. Here in the example, here I starts at 1. The loop prints the numbers and increments I by 1 each time until I is less than or equals to 5. Condition becomes false. While loop. The while loop is used when we don't know beforehand how many times to repeat it as long as the condition is true. Here in the example, the initialization is done before the condition. The loop keeps running as long as I is less than or equals to 5. If the condition becomes false, it stops immediately. Do while loop. A do while loop is similar to while, but it executes at least once even if the condition is false. The syntax of the do while loop is this. Here in the example, initialization is done before the do statement, and under the do curly braces code is written, and at the end condition is written. Even if the condition is false, initially do while loop runs before checking the condition. That's why it always executes at least once. Nested loops. A nested loop means one loop inside another, commonly used for pattern printing tables or matrices. Here in the example, the inner loop runs completely for each iteration of the outer loop, resulting in a matrix-like pattern. Infinite loop. If a loop condition never becomes false, it runs forever. This is called an infinite loop. As we can see in the example, the condition is always true, so this is an infinite loop. Be careful, infinite loops can crash your program if not handled properly. Loop control statements. Break statement and continue statements are the loop control statements. Break statements are used to exit the loop immediately. Here in the example, the loop runs for I is equals to 1, 2, 3 and 4, and when I becomes 5, the loop stops. Continue statement, used to skip the current iteration and continue with the next one. Here in the example, the loop runs normally for I is equals to 1 and 2, but when I becomes 3, it will continue and skips that iteration and doesn't print the value I is 3. After that it will continue from 4 and print 4, 5. which means the loop skips that iteration when I becomes 3. Now the question arises, when to use which loop? For loop is used when you know the exact number of iterations. While loop is used when iterations depend on a condition. Do while is used when you want to execute at least once. Nested loops is used when you work with patterns, tables, or matrices. Infinite loop is used when continuously waiting for user input or server response. Now, what we understood is what are loops, for loops, while loops, and do while loops, nested and infinite loops, break and continue statements, and when to use which loops. And that's all for today's videos on loops in Java. Now you know how repetition works in Java, the heart of logic and pattern-based programming. In the next video, we will explore arrays in Java, how to store multiple values in a single variable. If you learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your coding friends. See you in the next one. Till then, keep climbing the logic ladder.